to Richmond's Morning News with Rich Herrera on NewsRadio WRVA.
Hey, thanks for joining us this morning on NewsRadio WRVA, the voice of Virginia. I am Rich Herrera, Super Dave Ayler, our executive producer, and Gary Hess, who's been giving us the bad news about the price of gasoline all morning long.
That's what I do, yeah, sadly.
What's it?
By the way,
Yes, sir.
By the way,
Yes, sir.
I just got to tell you, I was really impressed at your deep dive knowledge of crude oil, and I just figured you clearly learned all that by watching Landman, right? That's it.
So I've gone from being an armchair quarterback doing sports to now I'm an armchair Billy Bob Thornton.
There you go.
That is hilarious. Stop it. You're making me laugh.
So, yeah, that was, like I hadn't heard that much crude oil talk since I finished season 2 of Landman.
I do love Landman.
Good.
I haven't seen all the way through, but I need to sit and binge watch it one a weekend. But I do know I know enough about oil to be dangerous, because when I was 15 years old, we moved to Bakersfield, California. So when I grew up, it was all about agriculture. I moved to Bakersfield, it's about agriculture, but it's also about oil. And
Bakersfield was about guitars, Cadillacs, and hillbilly music.
Buck Owens and Dwight Yoakam and Garth Brooks proposed to his wife at the Crystal Palace and all the rest of that. And but in Bakersfield, there's lots of oil patches. So I got to know a lot about oil living there.
You know what else I know about Bakersfield, California?
What's that?
It's the hometown of 4-time Indianapolis 500 winner Rick Mears.
Oh, yeah, Rick and Roger Mears. Let's see, it's also the hometown of who took over for Dale Earnhardt. It's Kevin Harvick. And here's the big one. Ready? Frank Gifford.
Oh, really?
Frank Gifford went to Bakersfield High School, Bakersfield College, and then went to USC, and then to the New York Giants, and then went on football.
Yeah, you know, Frank Gifford had a great TV career, and a lot of people who are younger than I am, well, I don't even remember it myself, he was quite a player in the NFL before he began his broadcast.
Oh, and he was the cat's meow, dressed to the nines. He and Mickey Mantle ran New York.
I was just gonna say, he was, really was a great fit to be playing in New York, much like Mantle and Whitey Ford, his partner in crime in Pinstripes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Gary. I'll let you get back to work. But there is a difference between all the different types of crude oil. In fact, one of my fraternity brothers, he was a geology major, so I would go hang out with him while he was working sometimes after class. So I would hang out at the geology lab, and they would look at different types of soil, and it's very fascinating, the different types of crude and why different crude, because you just think oil is just, it's all this big black, what do they call it in the Beverly Hillbillies? Black gold. It's not. Every type of oil is actually different. So that's why Alaska, Texas has the standard that everybody wants, because it's easy to get out of the ground. It doesn't have a lot of sulfur, so it doesn't take much to refine it. And then you've got the kind from Venezuela, which has a lot of sulfur in it. It's actually dirty, thicker oil, and it takes more to refine that oil. So there's different types of oil that you have from around the world, and it makes a difference on the world price. But the oil that we get, and I'll be honest with you, there's oil that we produce here in the United States. We don't refine here. We'll ship it somewhere else. And there's oil that we'll find in Canada. We'll bring it back here because it works better with our refineries. So the Venezuelan oil we have that's coming up from South America now, that'll go to the coastal, the refineries along the Gulf Coast, because they have the type of refineries that are really good refining that oil. The kind out in California, a little bit different. So every refinery is a little different because the oil is not universal, and that's why it becomes a worldwide oil market, not just we're getting United States oil, we're getting Canada oil, and the rest of the world can go kick rocks. It all goes into one big oil market, and that's where the price is figured out on a daily basis. And as Dr. Bilas told us when he was on the show before, that it's the oil it's the gas that's in the ground, it's the oil that's in the pipeline, and then it's the future oil that all goes into the algorithm that makes up the price of oil. So that's why we have these tremors, and we've seen oil jump $1 in the last 3 months, last 3 weeks, and it's a sticker shock for us. But I'll also throw this out. So I've studied this a little bit, and I'm gonna look to get an expert on to talk about this as well. There's three components that go to warfare. There's the military, the kinetic energy, and you hear that term all the time. That's the bombs and the shooting and the bullets that are flying. That's the kinetic side of war. And there's nobody better than that than the United States. The most lethal force the world has ever seen, our United States military. But that's not the only part of modern warfare. There's also the economics of modern warfare. Can I keep supplying the troops? Will I keep being able to have the supply lines getting to them, the logistics? Do I have the apparatus to build the war machine that funds and gets the bombs and the planes and everything else to the troops? Then there's the third component of that, which is the morale. Does your country have a will to fight? So there's three things. And you saw in World War II, the United States had the might of the military. They had the production, which was better than everybody else. And then we all got behind the war effort. You saw in Vietnam, we had the military that could do the job. Economically, we were able to do the job, but we didn't have the morale to stick to it. And that's why Vietnam went the way they did. And right now, again, everybody gets war weary, and you've had this nation building going on for so many years, and the American people are like, okay, we're out of the nation building business. We don't want to do that anymore, and rightfully so. But when you look at what's going on, do you have the industrial military complex to get the supplies to win the war? Yes. Do you have the military apparatus to win a war? Yes. And then for me, the big question is, do the American people have the stomach to get behind the United States to follow this through? And one of the things that we're seeing right now, and this is what Iran's doing, I'm going to tell you right now, you are being affected by their war plan. Let me go down this rabbit hole with you. We have war planners, and they do war games, and they kind of figure out, okay, what's going to happen in Strait of Hormuz? What's going to happen here? Boom, 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 boom. Well, if we have it, then they have it as well. And one of the calculations they've made is they know the American people, they watch what's going on, they see what the Republicans and the Democrats are going to say and how people are going to react and how the media will react. And honestly, they could use that against the American people. So as they shut down the Strait of Hormuz and they put that kink in the oil pipeline and our gases spike $1 in the last 3 weeks, do the American people have the wherewithal to take that hit in the gas tanks and take that hit in our wallets and not start saying, okay, we've had enough. They're trying to use whatever they have, the same we use whatever we have to conquer your opponents, to make them stop, to win this war. And if the war is going really well, then you just put pedal to the metal and you completely destroy your enemy. Now, if you're back on your heels, you use everything you possibly can to push back against your aggressors that you're losing to, because now you're on the defensive side. So what do? You start firing missiles indiscriminately at everyone around, trying to cause so much chaos that the political pressure will build around the world to tell Donald Trump, call off the dogs. And if that doesn't work, then what they're doing right now is applying economic warfare to us, which is they're going to squeeze the price of oil, raise the prices so much, and hope that the American people and the anti-war folks are going to rise up and say, enough is enough. Look at the price of oil. Let's stop this whole thing. That's their game plan. That's why they're shutting down the Strait of Hormuz. Some Chinese ships have gone through, but everybody else is being held up because if they drive up the price of oil in the worldwide market, they could bring the rest of us to our knees. Think about this. We put sanctions down against people all the time. Oh, we're going to sanction you. What are sanctions? It's economic warfare. They're having economic warfare against us as we're fighting a kinetic war, hoping that they'll be able to knock down the third leg of that stool and have the American people go, okay, we give up. We're tired of this. Let's just end this right now and come to some kind of compromise. And you're already hearing that out of some quarters in this country. So again, remember, kinetic warfare, the bombs, the bullets that go whizzing by each other. There's the economic. Can I bring the other country to their knees by ruining them economically? And does that country have the wherewithal to continue to produce the bombs and the bullets and everything else you need to fight that war? And the third is the morale. You see it right now in Cuba. The morale is absolutely collapsing with the Cuban government. They set fire to the Communist Party headquarters in Cuba this weekend. That's never happened before. That tells me the people are rising up. The morale of supporting that communist dictatorship in Cuba is collapsing before our very eyes. So there's 3 portions to war. I didn't know that all along. I had actually studied that. Somebody told me that, and I've actually went out and read as much as I can about that. I find it fascinating that there's 3. I was watching a YouTube video from the history guy. If you ever see him on YouTube, he's got this bow tie that he wears. But he was talking about what happened in the weeks between VE Day, the day that the Nazis surrendered, until the day that the Japanese surrendered, and how the American morale, once the war was over in Europe, go, whew. And then they said, okay, we got to gear up and finish the war in Japan, how the American people started pushing back, balking, and the morale started to fall apart around the country. So that really opened my eyes to the 3 legs of the stool for modern warfare. Interesting stuff. Anyway, that's why oil is going up. They're putting economic warfare pressure on the American people to get us to stop the bombs falling in Tehran. That's their fight back, because they can't match us bullet for bullet, soldier for soldier, ship to ship. Nobody can stand to the might of the U.S. military, but they can try to put as much pressure on us economically. And then the big thing that people have figured out around the world is you can bend the will of the American people if the American people grow war weary. Anyway, something to think about. All right, I was going to talk about that teen takeover. I'm going to get to that in just a little bit. But coming up, I have news, traffic, and weather for you all this morning here on News Radio WRVA.